I get double bumped every time. Oh my gosh. Gotta do something with this haircut. It's too long. I'm gonna cut it off. Cutting all my hair off. Alright, anyways, what's up guys? I am back with another video. And in this video, I decided to I thought it would be a good idea to speak about my most recent DMT experience. And this one I think is gonna be kind of tough to explain because I already tried to explain it once to a friend, and it was by far one that had the biggest impact on me, or I'd say probably the biggest experience from DMT since the first time that I ever did it. But actually I take that back because all of them truly are you know, their own have their own you know, magnificent sort of purpose or whatever. So basically I thought I'd tell you about the most recent experience. And so basically I was sitting in my room, and all of the times that I had smoked DMT before this time, I was just microdosing. And I'm gonna make a video on microdosing DMT, so I'm not gonna talk about that too much. But I was sitting in my room and I basically had just been microdosing a tiny bit, and basically the thought came to me, like, after I, you know, just took like a small tiny hit, you know, and I sat with it, you know, not enough to have like the full experience, but just a tiny bit to bring in like little tiny visuals. The thought came to me and I was just like, I love this stuff. Like, and that's like, I say that in like the most healthy, positive way that I can. You know, I mean, like, it's just, it truly helps me. I believe that. So I was just smoked a tiny bit and I was like, I love this stuff. And then I was like, I need to have a breakthrough experience, you know, because it had been a long time since I had one. You know, I had just been microdosing it, you know, for a while. And so basically I loaded a bunch in the pipe, and I, you know, got the torch and I lit it. And I literally only took one big hit. And, you know, so I lit it and I just, one huge hit. I didn't even get like, you know, I didn't even take like multiple hits. And I, just from that, I was like, I somehow knew that it was going to be, you know, a big experience. And I sort of think that if we go into ourselves and if we want the experience to be a big experience, somehow DMT has its own intelligence where it knows, you know. So like if you go into it and you're fighting it off, it will stay away from you, you know. Like there's people who have those experiences where, like, you know, they get to like sort of the threshold of they can go further into it or not, and some people like shy away or go left or right with it, and they don't actually get fully engulfed. They don't fully, you know, let go and go fully into it. And so for me, just from I set my intention before taking this hit, and I was like, I want to have a huge experience. So I had just taken one hit, and before it even like came on, like I set the pipe and everything down to my left, and it just like came very fast. And I remember this time it like came on, I was like just like This experience is really hard to share because as the experience left, it was hard to remember, which I heard that happens to people who, you know, if they smoke too much, if the milligram dosage is too high, and the bigger and more intense the experience is, sometimes it's harder to bring back into memory. But at this point, I was confronted by a being, this type of being, similar to the ones that I had met before or seen before, but this one was more electrical than ever. And it was doing this like movement, these movements with its hands. I had basically went through this vortex of a tunnel, and it was almost like I was in this room, but not necessarily a room, because it's not made up of like anything physical. What happened is there were just colors, extremely bright, blue, green, red, yellow, extremely vibrant colors just dripping, like coming down in patterns, dripping, like just, it'd be comparable to just like dripping gold, you know. It's just absolutely beautiful. And in the direct center of the experience, there's this being, and it looks more electrical than I've ever seen them. To me, they usually come off as like, you know, very translucent sort of jellyfish. Like this one was electrical, and it was doing this movement with its hands, like it was just intense. And I was like, you know, making sure that my attention and my awareness was as focused as I could be, so I could learn something from the experience. And if I was like really focused, it was like really focused. And then what happened was I shifted my thoughts onto some of the more inconvenient things that I'm experiencing right now, and then it just gets ugly, and it shows me that ugliness. And so it almost like it mimics or it mocks all of your thoughts. And what I find is that that's very useful, and that's very helpful to experience, because if something mocks you, it shows you exactly, you know, the experience of what you're experiencing. So and that can in a direct way show you how to deal with it. It's like, you know, if you're mean to someone and that person is directly mean back to you, and you're conscious of that, it makes sense, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be mean, because that I just felt what it's like to get that back. So it's like very reflective, it's self-reflective, and that is a tool. And that's why I think DMT is a great tool, because it shows you how to perfect yourself, and you know, make sure that you're being doing your work and being positive or whatever on your side of things, you know. So in that ugliness, you know, it's easy to deal with, because it's not necessarily my ugliness that I shifted on. It's this ugliness from another person that had affected me in a negative way, and it shows me exactly what that is. And so I know, okay, there that is, that can stay there. And then I shifted back to really focus. I'm like, what's going on here? What can I learn? And it's just so, the information of it's happening so fast. But even though, what I pull from that is that it's just a mirror of you, of your emotions. And a lot can be learned from that. And more can be learned from it in the direct experience of it than hearing anyone sort of talk about it. So, you know, I think it's a valuable thing to share these experiences, because I think the viewers, you guys can get an idea. I mean, the imagination is all it really takes to really learn. You know, for example, if you have a good enough imagination and you want like a nice car, you know, sometimes people's imaginations of what driving a nice car is like can actually be better than what it's actually like to drive a nice car, you know. So with that, there was this electrical being, and then this like dripping of colors in this room, and everything was happening so fast. It felt like I was in sort of this hyperspace, and I remember it started to fade away. It was almost as like this door was opened and I like began to scoot back from it, and it just moves away and it moves away, and before I know it, you know, it's just gone. It just fades away like it's just magic. And that was it. It was just a very reflective experience, and it was really powerful because, you know, I think when we go long periods of time without smoking DMT or without we lose like how powerful the experience is. We don't lose it, we just forget, like, you know, whoa, like how powerful it is in the moment of it. You know, I hope that makes sense. But so it was a good reminder, like, wow, like this is a powerful thing. You know, because I had been microdosing it and sort of just trying to understand it at smaller levels of smaller dosage levels, and seeing like how I can integrate that into my life and see if it can help me in a positive way, which I've been experimenting with, and I will let you guys know in another video about my experiences with that. There's also another experience that I want to talk about that involves a relationship, and I think some of you guys may appreciate that one as well. So that's that. There's food cooking. I've got to go get my food before it burns. I've seen some wonderful comments in the comment section below the first two videos that I've uploaded. Thank you to each of you who do comment. I read every single one of them, and they mean a lot to me. So for that, thank you guys. I hope you're enjoying the videos. I hope the content is what you're looking for. And I have a few more ideas for future videos. I don't know when I'll do them, but they'll come soon enough. So with that, I hope you learned something from this one. It's kind of short. That's as much detail of the story that I can share with you, because it was a simple experience, but still very strong, very impactful. So yeah, I have a few more stories to share for future videos. So until next time, thanks for watching. Peace.